Hey, what's up? Today I'm going to be giving you guys 8 reasons why you should start on pedal harp. In my last video, I gave 8 reasons why you should start on lever harp, and I'm kind of comparing the pros and cons of each, so go check that video out to compare the pros and cons of both before you make your final decision. My first reason is actually why the pedal harp was invented in the first place, which is you have access to playing more keys, and it makes it easier to play in different keys in a way. And this is because the pedal harp uses a double action pedal mechanism instead of levers. On the lever harp, you only have access to 2 positions. So if you're playing a C, you can make it either C or C sharp. But on the pedal harp, you have access to 3 positions. So if the pedals are all the way up, then you're playing C flat, or whatever that note is flat. So D flat, E flat. You put the pedals in the middle position. Now you have C natural, D natural, or E natural. And when you put the pedal all the way in the bottom position, now that note is sharp. So if I'm using the C pedal and I put it up, C flat, C natural, C sharp. Same with anything else. F flat, F natural, F sharp. And when you learn how to use the pedals, it makes it easier to change in between keys and notes, because instead of having to stop and use your hand to push up a lever, you can still be playing and moving your pedals. So you don't have to take your hands off the harp, and you can keep them there and not have to worry about rushing back to get back to your note. And this leads me to my next point, which is your repertoire is expanded when you use the pedal harp. Because you can play these chromatic passages, or passages that use sharps and flats more often, whereas on the lever harp, it's a lot harder to play those passages because you don't have access to all the same keys, and you don't have as easy or as fast of a way to change in between notes as well. So you have access to playing more pieces, such as piano repertoire, or such as just more advanced harp repertoire. My next reasoning is orchestral and gig opportunities. This is because orchestras require you to have a full-sized 47-string pedal harp in order to play the repertoire, because the lever harp doesn't have access to playing some of those pieces. And also, the pedal harp just has a bigger sound overall. And because the pedal harp has more chromatic accessibility, it makes it easier to play in things like jazz bands, which require a lot of chromatic notes and changing within keys. My next reason, like I said before, you have 47 strings, so you have more notes to work with. Let's say you want to compose a song or you want to learn a song. On the lever harp, you only have somewhere between, I think on the lower end, 25 strings to about, I think I've seen 37 strings on a lever harp before. But yeah, that's 10 to 15 strings that you have access to, not including the sharps and flats as well. So there's definitely more notes as well that you have to work with. And this means when you're learning pieces, let's say you want to learn a song and there's really high notes or super duper low notes. Now you have access to those, or you're composing a song and you want those textures. You have access to the super high register now and the super duper low register as well. My next reason is super practical, which is you don't have to transition. Whereas me, I started on the lever harp, so I had to transition and get a brand new harp, which means the technique was pretty much the same, but I had to learn to adjust to the different string material, the gut strings, and it was a bit harder on me. I had to get calluses, whereas on the lever harp I wasn't getting calluses. So it'll be a harder start when you start on the pedal harp, but you won't have to transition, you won't have to get used to it. Your fingers will already be building that strength to using the pedal harp. So when you get to more advanced pieces, it'll be a lot easier because you'll already be used to using the pedals, where me, I was at an advanced level on the lever harp, but I didn't know how to move the pedals, so I was a little bit limited on the repertoire I could play until I learned how to use the pedals and match it with the skill level of my hands. And in starting on the pedal harp, you don't have to transition to another instrument later on if your plan is to play the pedal harp, because my plan starting on the lever harp was I did want to transition to the pedal harp, and not everybody wants that. But if you do plan on transitioning, then if you're already starting on the pedal harp, you don't have to spend any money on a lever harp at all, which means in the long run, you might actually save money because you never even bought a lever harp to begin with, and you're already starting on the pedal harp. Since the pedal harp is a super expensive investment, I do recommend knowing that you really want to play this and this is what you love before fully buying one out. Regardless of the price though, if you really want to learn the pedal harp and that's a dream of yours, I say go ahead and buy it and go for it. You don't want to regret not having played the harp if that's really what you want to do. My next pro of the pedal harp is you have a bigger sound. So when you're playing gigs, it's easier to fill bigger rooms compared to the lever harp. The lever harp is a bit quieter. It's definitely a big difference compared to the pedal harp, where you play a chord on the pedal harp and it rings out and can fill up a whole room. Not to say you won't need any amplifications or sound systems eventually, because even when I'm playing at a restaurant in a pedal harp, if people are talking loud, I'm going to need to use some sort of amplification or sound system when I'm playing in those venues, and when there's bigger spaces, of course. So if you plan on playing those bigger spaces, regardless, you're going to need a sound system, but if you just plan on playing on cozier, smaller places, the pedal harp will be heard super well throughout the whole room and fill it up. Even in my own house, when I'm playing on the bottom floor, my mom says she can hear me from the top floor. So it definitely rings out a lot. I made this point in my last video, but I have to emphasize it, which is these are two completely different instruments. So if you like the sound of the pedal harp, then go ahead and get it if you can, because it definitely has a different sound when compared to the lever harp. It's a more big and warm sound, so you won't get that nice tanginess from the Celtic sound of the lever harp, but you will get a nice, warm, strong tone from the pedal harp that I happen to really like. Finally, this reason doesn't really matter that much when it comes to playing an instrument, but it looks amazing. It's big, it's beautiful. You got the nice columns, you've got the hand-carved wood, you've got the designs on the soundboard. I mean, does it get more beautiful when it comes to instruments than a pedal harp? I don't think so. And not to say it doesn't fully matter, because that's honestly a big part of why I chose it, but it's not the only reason you should pick the pedal harp. You should love the sound, you should love how it feels when you play it, and you should just really enjoy the repertoire overall as well. So definitely before you go and buy either a pedal or a lever harp, really listen to the songs and repertoire of both instruments and see what you really like. And if you really like it, then go ahead and buy it. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more harp content.